Hello and welcome, I'm Raziel, and today's story, which was meant to be yesterday, but time's still not on my side, unfortunately, today, I am going to be doing a mantic story. And just because, like I said, time's not on my side, I've not had time to actually write my notes and scripts and stuff like that for the story, I'm going to actually be reading from the book. Okay? Going to do a reading from the book. Kings of War is fantastic. I think the lore is fantastic. It's got some really nice stuff in here. They have a great background, and there's really cool stuff. It's based on a planet of Pannithor, which is where it all takes place. This is the Kings of War planet, and it has some really cool stuff. Before the dawn of the noble races, in a time so long ago, even the elves have scant record. The world came to be. It was created in all of its bleak majesty by the efforts of the old gods, known as the primogenitors. The primogenitors were, each themselves, fashioned of the very stuff of which existence is composed: life, death, darkness, light, earth, water, and air. Each of them wholly possessed of and driven by the nature of their own maker. Banach was amongst the youngest. Twin of Shobek, Banach was the god of life, delighting in bringing the spark of sentience to a vast and bewildering array of creations and forms, his imagination as limitless as his capacity for joy. His brother Shobek presided over death, though the word itself does concept little justice. In reality, Shobek represented time, entropy, decay, and the hope of rebirth. For a mortal mind to even comprehend the full majesty and perfect harmony of the one twin with the other is simply impossible. Where Banach was excitable and intemperate, Shobek was aloof and logical. Where Banach would often let his creations loose in the world with no idea as a potential or capability, Shobek's every action was considered and calculated, never resulting in anything other than exactly that which he had intended. The two were as fire and ice, Banach's flames rising to melt Shobek's ice, which would then in turn douse the conflagration of Banach's ardor. It is impossible for the mortal heart to comprehend the depths of emotion exchanged between these two beings. A fraction of their fraternal love would burst a million hearts of suitors. A mere sliver of their jealousy and rage would send whole populations insane with anger, and yet the two coexisted closely. Banach's creations giving him delight, Shobek's inevitable attentions taking them away. Paving the way for the next and the next, theirs was a relationship of perfect harmony, such that the whole of creation was balanced more finely than in any scale by their actions. Ompek, the god of light and riser of the sun, was paired with Lonok, the queen of shadows and bringer of darkness. Unlike the twins, these two enjoyed a fiery coexistence of endless opposition, for each constantly battling to vanquish the other utterly. Their struggle was endless, chasing one another around the globe, neither able to best the other or cast the world fully under their influence. Where there was darkness on one side, so there was light on the other. Where the sun rose and illuminated the lands at one pole, the stars winked from cyclopean darkness at the other. The sun itself, dragged forth from the heavens to shine brighter near the world, is countered by the moon, which Lonok uses to drag shadows across the globe. In some of the older parts of the world, in lost civilizations, still holding to the old ways, a solar eclipse is seen as a sign that the two are at the peak of their rage, and with another, the longer periods of twilight and dusk are followed, the result of exhaustion of each as they slink away to regain their powers for another day. Freneka and Korgan's relationship was a playful one. The god of air would send forth mighty winds to stir up Freneka's oceans, whipping them into a frenzy. Freneka would take these winds and use their strength to form enormous waves, and the resulting storms were as epic as they were beautiful. Neither cared much for the creatures gifted both of them by Banach, not the birds of the skies nor the beasts of the deeps, as each was too wrapped up in their affections for each other. Even the ancient worms, mothers of dragonkind, were considered clumsy and beneath contempt by both gods. Some of the greatest lakes, mountains, and rivers were formed by the constant and tempestuous back and forth, and in a very real sense, they shaped much of the world as it is known today. Of all of the primogenitors, Dianek lived alone, a solitary and mournful life. Hers was the earth, and all that lay beneath it. Banek had no interest in making creatures he saw unable to see and show off to the others. Shobak bestowed only the lightest attention on the underworld, ensuring that time would drag there infinitesimally slowly. Ompek and Lonak saw no use for the realm, whose Stygian depths drank light more deeply and completely than any shadow she could conjure. Vanneka found earth to be an anathema to her, fit only to wash away in slow erosion as she carved her signature through it, and Korgan blew across the top of the earth without once touching it. While the other primogenitors played and marvelled above the earth, exulting in their powers and vying to outdo each other through the heavens, Dianek remained below, and tended to her depths in solitude. Try as she might, she could fashion no truly sentient creatures from the clay and mud. She could raise simple mindless constructs of rock to do her bidding, puppet-like. None living can truly say how long the reign of the primogenitors lasted. Banek ushered in the beginning of its end with his creation of the elves, and all that is known is that these seven between them began the shaping of the world that is known today. There you go. I do like that. I do like a nice, interesting backstory to how the creation happened. I think it makes a really good foundation for Pannithor. I really does, because almost everything's explained, and you don't have any massive wars doing it. It's just the way it happens, and it's kind of interesting. I quite like it. I really like seeing these stories of these when they try and shape the origins of the planet, and just not have all these mysterious beings and actually explain what the beings were, like these primogenitors, and what they did, actually how they shaped the planet and why they did it. It's far more interesting than these mysterious beings did it and then disappeared. I always find that to be quite a boring story. Like, okay, who were these mysterious beings? They were mysterious. Okay. And I quite like this. I think it's an interesting story, and it's well worth reading. If you've got Owen to Kings of War, it's in the green rule book, which I believe you have to purchase separately now, which is a bit of a shame, because the rule book that I get with games now is the red one, which is just the rules and the data sheets. Okay, like I said, this is the green book. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry I was short of time today to actually do a proper video and script one for you and actually do that sort of story. I do apologise. I don't really like going back to reading from the story for it, but I had to say I am short for time. I do apologise again. See you all in the next one. I hope you all have a good day. If you want to get some Mantic, you can get them from Wayland Games down below with free delivery after £20. I do use Wayland Games quite often. I had a delivery today, in fact. And honestly, you probably could watch this any video and you probably hear that I had a delivery today. So they're really good. Forbidden Planet as well is there. For, anything geeky, comics, DVDs, mangas, animes, toys, all that really cool stuff that everyone loves. There is my merchandise, stickers, cups, and t-shirts. There is my comic as well, that's down below. And there is Skyforge. Never forget Skyforge, because he's a good guy. Just give that guy a click, especially if you're into Pokemon cards. And finally, Patreon, because business. Bye-bye.